I was born to the time somebody is born today, I think there's been really dramatic changes in certainly our knowledge of things, but the obvious thing is the way we look. I mean, you have people that are, in my estimation, they're stressed. I think on the whole we're heavier.
My mother has a multitude of health issues and heart disease, and I just looked at her and thought, I'm going to be proactive and get with it now, 25 years before she was aware of heart health.
I find is people who start early to being aware and making these changes typically have fewer problems on down the road than people who wait until they get hit with a 2x4 of heart disease or numbers that are totally out of whack. My whole orientation towards healthcare really is prevention.
We certainly see high blood pressure in young people, and sometimes it runs in families and it has to be controlled. If it's not controlled, you're going to get all of the problems surrounding it. You get kidney disease, you can get strokes, you can get heart disease. So it's important that you know that. The other thing about blood pressure, it's called a silent killer.
My training in dietetics and particularly cardiac rehab heightened my awareness. So I have been very diligent about exercising regularly, watching my saturated fat intake, increasing my fiber intake, and taking care of myself so I can enjoy my life.
Decided right then, cut out fats, saturated fats, and cut way back on red meat and all low-fat or non-fat dairy, and I started being very vigilant about walking. We walk 2.5 miles each morning, and I realize that's an important part of it.
It's important to know your numbers so that you have a sense of your risk. If you are unaware, you are unable to be proactive. Heart disease is predictable, so knowing your risk is the first step in minimizing your chances of having a heart problem.
And a project that's been set up there is one called Know Your Numbers, and this is specifically for women. And women's heart diseases I've identified as different, but those same numbers that we'll be collecting, we would collect on men also. And it's important to know those numbers, even if they are okay, because over the course of your lifetime, you're going to want to watch those numbers. And those numbers would be your cholesterol, triglyceride, and within those two, you would want to know your HDL, LDL, and the ratio.
I saw it in the Register Guard newspaper, and great big full-page ad, know your numbers, and I thought, I don't know my numbers, I better learn.
Well, I think it's vitally important that younger women be aware of the prevalence of heart disease. I think that many people think that heart disease is a man's problem, and women are somehow immune to this problem. And the statistics just don't show that. The more proactive you are, the earlier in your life, the more likely you're going to be able to live a full life and prevent some of those things.